Hi everyone, welcome to Art Club. I'm Miss Liz and today we're going to be painting two beautiful leaves and then we're going to be putting them together to create this really neat leaf weaving project. So here's one sample that I've got for you to look at and here is another. Let's go ahead and see what's inside your kits. So you've got three different colors of paint, red, orange, and brown, a foam paintbrush, and a small glue stick. Some things that you'll need from home include a pair of scissors, a ruler, a pencil. I have a pen with me today, but I recommend just using a pencil. It works fine, but I wanted something dark enough so you could see what I'm doing in the video. You'll also need a cup of water and a paper towel so that you can clean your paintbrushes in between paint colors. All right, before we get started, let's take a look at one of the samples. So you can see, if you look closely, it looks like a checkerboard. And we're going to be getting that effect by cutting our papers into strips and weaving them together. So I know it's hard to imagine what we're doing now, but once we're done, we're going to have something that looks similar to this. Okay, let's get ready to paint. So go ahead and put your scissors, your pencil, and your glue stick off to the side. If you have a newspaper or an old paper bag that you can open up, I always recommend that you cover your work surface so you don't make a mess on your table. You can grab one of your leaf construction paper things and we'll go ahead and start painting. We would like our leaves to look somewhat similar. They don't have to look exact, but similar always makes the final product look great. All right, let's start out with painting our leaves. Go ahead and grab your first sheet with a leaf on it and open up your paint. So we're mostly going to use the red and orange paint with some touches of brown. So go ahead, dip your paintbrush into one of your colors, your orange or your red, and just start painting right on there. It's okay if you go outside the lines, but we're going to try to stay inside the lines. So you're just going to put your paintbrush just a little bit in there so you get some on the tip, and we're going to paint this way, like straight up and down where it's nice and pointy, and that's how we're going to do out here on the outline, so we're not going outside the lines too much. If you miss some of the color, that's okay, because we're going to come back and we're going to fill some more in with orange as well. So we can just hit all those blue spots in there at different times. Using these three colors is going to help make our project go together very well and look like they match pretty good. So that's why we're only using three colors. Once you've got some of the edges done, you can go ahead and flip your paintbrush over and start painting this way. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the stem and come back later and paint that with brown. So I have some spots that have thicker paint on than others. It's perfectly fine. If you have too much on there, it will take a long time for it to dry. So I'm going to clean my paintbrush and come back and add some orange. Just make sure you squeeze all that excess water out of your foam brush. I usually use that paper towel for that. If there's still a little bit of the red color on there, that's fine too. So now if you just want to paint some of that orange in, you don't want to cover up the red completely. But everybody's going to want to have their leaf look a little bit different. So whatever works for your style. So right now I'm just trying to cover up some of these spots that maybe didn't get any red paint on them. It's a good way to make that orange stand out. Some of this red and orange they're gonna just blend together nicely. Okay. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse that off, and then I'm going to use the brown. And I'm going to put it right here on the stem. And then I'm also going to add some of these like veins. So all of these paintings or construction paper, coloring pages, whatever you want to call it, shows like a little bit of stem in there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the brown and just kind of draw or paint my own right on top of that color. And I'm just going to dab it on like this. And the lighter that you press, the smaller your line is going to be. So don't touch it too hard onto your paper. It's hard, you can tell. Some spots I pushed a little bit too hard and sometimes not, but each leaf is unique and it's not perfect. So either way is going to look beautiful. All right, there we go. So you'll see I've got a little paint around on this part, totally fine. And you can also tell it's pretty wet and needs to take some time to dry. So I like the way this one looks, so I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to start working on the second one. And we want it to look similar. It doesn't have to be exact, but we want it to look similar. All right, I did end up having to grab some more paper towels, so make sure you have that handy. And I'm going to get ready, and then I'm going to start with the red again. And like we did earlier, I'm just going to try to paint with the tip along these edges. So now both of them are still pretty wet. So we're just going to have to let that sit and come back in a little bit and find out what the next step is. All right, my leaves are dry. So let's get ready to move on to the next step. Go ahead and grab your ruler and your pencil, and we are going to actually turn our paper over. And we're going to take our ruler and we're going to draw a line on the end of the paper. So we're going to line up our ruler right here on the edge, and we're just going to draw a line. Like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw lines this way, right here. So I am going to start at the top and draw a line. Now my ruler is not as long as the paper, so we'll just kind of slide it down and draw the line. Now, the line does not have to be exact. It's completely fine if it's a little bit off. That's the nice thing about this project. We don't need exact. So I'm just going to move it down. So it's really just a guideline for us because we're going to be cutting some of these lines. And you'll notice over here, I'm just starting these lines right here where this line is. I'm not going all the way to the edge, but I am going to the edge on the other side. And then when we get down to the bottom, we may not be able to have two more strips the exact width of this ruler. See, there's a little bit left. Let me move this a little bit. There's a little bit extra down here, and that's completely fine. Don't worry about it. Just get that last line in there. So you can see the lines. And then that brings us to our next step. We are going to take our scissors and we're going to be cutting along these lines, but we're going to stop here at this first line that we drew. That way it's going to keep all our strips together and they're not going to fall off. And again, if you're not cutting exactly on the line and it's a little crooked, completely okay. Do the best you can and take your time. All right, so I'm going to flip it back over. Turn around. So I do notice, I thought it was drier. So I did get, when I turned it over, I've got some paint on the outside of my leaf. I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to look fine. All right, let's get our second leaf and we're going to start drawing our lines on there as well. So I'm going to start on this side, and this time we're going to draw our lines up and down. We're not going to go sideways like the last one. We're going to go up and down, and we're going to go all the way from the top to the bottom. So all the way along the whole thing. So I'm also ending up, when I get to the bottom, having a little strip that's a different size than all the rest, but that's going to be perfectly fine. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to start cutting these lines. And what we want to do is try to keep them in order. We're going to kind of put it back together like a puzzle. And then I'll show you the best part, which is the weaving. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is put these in order. After I fix my camera, put them in order so it looks like the leaf. So if you're really flipping your paper back over, you're going to start on this end. And you're going to take the paper from over here and bring it over there. So just keep moving these over. And if you get them mixed up, you'll be able to see how they go back in order. And see, there's my leaf coming back in place. Oh, I got them out of order a little bit. That's okay. All right, and there it is. All right, let's go ahead and set this leaf off to the side, but within reach. I'm going to put mine on a chair next to where I'm sitting, so it's easy for me to grab. And then I'm going to bring the first leaf back over here. So we are going to start weaving our paper. We are going to take the left side of our second leaf, which happens to be a blank piece with nothing on it, and we're going to start weaving it. So we're going to go over this bottom piece here and then under the second piece. So actually, I'm going to turn it over because I can see my line here from my pen. So I'm going to go under, over, and it doesn't matter which way you start first, whether you're going under or over, as long as you're alternating each different piece. So just watch this a few minutes so you get what I'm doing. Okay. So here is a little bit of that checkerboard look. You can see that it's under here, under, and here's over. Does that make sense? So go ahead now and get the second piece. And this time we're going to go over this one under the next one. You can start lifting these little pieces up if that's helpful. Under. So we're over, under, over, under, over. Now you want to go under, over, under, over. So this here is where we're going to put our fingers to work, and we're going to make sure we're pushing all the pieces so they're nice and tight. All right, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to grab the next one from the end, and we're going to start over again, and we're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, and under. And then we're going to push our pieces to the side. All right, so now when you look here, it looks a little bit off. We're covering up part of the leaf. So what we're going to do is let's try and remove this middle piece that we put in, the second one. Let's see if we can pull that out. And this is going to happen. So don't worry about it. Don't get frustrated. And let's move this over. And when I move that, you will notice now they're both the same. So let's go ahead, pull that one out, and start again. This time we're going to go over, under, over, under. And when you're doing a weaving project like this with a design on the paper, you will have to eventually move a couple of the strips like we just did, just to make it work. But if you're doing just checkerboard style with two different colors, it'll be completely fine. All right, so that looks pretty good. So our first one started out as under, over, and so on. And here's over, under, and so on. So now go ahead and grab the next piece, and we are going to go under, which is opposite of the last one. Under and then over, and then under, over, over. And just take your time. And then you're just going to use your fingers, you're going to push it over so they line up. So you can see they've lined up pretty nicely here just by removing that one piece. So let's keep going. And then I'll take one blank one, add that on the end. And there we go. That looks so pretty. It looks like I got a little out of order right here, so I need to come back and fix this a little bit. So as long as you take your time, if yours got a little out of order, you can just come back and fix it. So we've got under, over, under, over, under, over, and then under, over, under, over, and then everything is pushed nice and tight. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, and we're going to glue these end pieces in place. All right, so I'm going to carefully pick this up from the open end over here and try to flip it over without getting anything too out of order. There we go. And then if anything's moved a little bit, just kind of push it over. And then we're going to grab our glue sticks. And we're going to, the little extra pieces that are over here, we're just going to fold over so they line up a little bit, and we're going to glue them down. And that's going to be our finished edge. Now we're going to do the same thing down here. We're just going to start gluing the pieces that are over. Gluing those into place. Uh-oh. Somehow I mixed that up a little bit, but now that I started gluing, I'm just going to have to leave it. If that happens to you and you haven't already glued it, you can fix it. If not, just leave it right there. All right, and now we're going to flip it over. And we're going to glue these top pieces here. And over here on the side. These ones have already been flipped over and glued, but we didn't do these extra pieces. So go ahead, check those, see what else needs to be glued. And here's where I got it a little messed up. So it's under, over, under, over. This one should be under. Let's see if I can fix it. Under. Let's see. That one's glued down, so I'm going to leave that. All right. All right, here's how mine turned out. I love it. Turned out really good. It was easier the second time, that's for sure. I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you would like to share yours with me, you can email it to me at youth@newlenoxlibrary.org, or you can post it in the Facebook post about this video. And have a great day, and I hope to see you soon at the library.